Like, what's going on, guys? We're going to rank all the future stars icon. We're going to go through all of them, show you the stats, and then we're ultimately going to rank them in order. If this video does well, I might make more of these. But I know these are more entertainment type videos than informative. But let's just go through them. So the first card we have over here is Johan Cruyff. Now, Johan Cruyff, of course, being one of the better cards inside the game. The question is, in the tier list, where does he go? Now, the thing with, if we go over to his stats, let's just go over to his stats for a second. He's got some of the best stats money can buy. Look, immediately looking at S+ tier, because he's got the 5-star, the first touch and the finesse shot trait, and he has everything that you'd want for a striker. He just has to go on either S or S+. Does he make it S+? I think he does. He's got tiki-taka and incisive, and he's got the Trivela playstyle, and he's got the finesse shot, and he's got the finesse and finesse shot and first touch, but he's got the ability to play the cam. There's only a few players that you can play in a cam, and a strike is one of them. Maybe you could argue the price, but 5-star, I think he has to go in S+ tier. With those playstyles, okay, maybe you could argue a quick step playstyle plus would be better, but in my opinion, he has to go on an S+ tier. Personally speaking, he just has to go there. I think anyone would want him in your team. He's such a good striker, and he has everything that you want. There's only a few things that maybe you could argue, like his strength and a few other things, but let's be honest, you're not going to buy him to win you free kicks. But the ability to play as a cam with both the incisive tiki-taka, and he's got the fake shot ability, he's a good card. Next one we're going to go with is Garrincha. Now, where would he go? Now, Garrincha has, I'm not going to say has fallen off, but hasn't been used as widely as maybe other people would have used him. In fact, he's got the icon card is actually fairly cheap. You're only talking about 500k, whereas otherwise in other years it would be much more. Now, I think the technical on the normal card is good, but it's, I would say now with the rapid, now I want to say one thing. The rapid and quick step combo, I think quick step playstyle plus is better than rapid. Rapid only affects you when you're holding the ball, when it reduces the effects of knock-on. So I'd rather have a quick step playstyle plus to make my player faster for the speed boost, and then the regular rapid playstyle. But I think he's a good card. I don't think he's S+ tier. I think he's S tier. I think he would get into most people's team. He's not 5-star. Maybe you could argue there's better wingers for that price. So for me, I'm thinking realistically he's going in S tier. I think he's a very, very good card. When I'm ranking these as well, I'm ranking these as, okay, will this get into most people's team? Will you not get into most people's team? These are also the way that I'm weighting this up, because S+ tier is subjective. For the real must-haves, I will let you know. So we're going to go through some of these and I'll tell you, okay, are there real must-haves? Now, this Eto'o card, now, I've always hated Eto'o. Eto'o has always been very... When I had Eto'o, I've always had him as a very average player. I just don't like him. He always felt clunky. I would even put him in, I'll put him in A tier or B tier, but this is where things change, okay? Now, the regular gold card, he's okay. When they added playstyles, a quick step playstyle, it made the card much better. But with this new one, with the power shot and quick step, I think you're looking at here one the best. He can also play left wing, and he also has a 5-star weak foot, which he doesn't have on his base card. So to be honest here, I think you're looking at a really good card. Does he make S+ tier? I think he does. It depends. Like, if you don't use the power shots and you don't use the quick step, you may argue, why would he go on S+ tier? And I completely understand that. But for me, I would put him there, because you know why? In most teams, he's going to get in there. Unless you got like team of the year players. But let's be honest, he's going to get in there. And to be honest, quick step is what you want for a striker. Power shot is what you want. I think those are like the top 2 play styles you can get. I like Hamm. Mia Hamm has got some really good play styles. She's got the first touch and the power shot. But quick step and a power shot, or quick step and finesse, has to go automatically S+ tier. Maybe you can argue, you know what, we're going to change the order of, okay, is that player maybe better than Cruyff? We'll go over that a bit later on, but I think he has to go. And he's also got the tiki-taka, puff for a striker, Trivela, first touch, finesse, and technical. If he had rapid, even better, but I think his stats speak for itself. A very, very good card. Maybe you could argue better than Cruyff, but we'll come back to that to the end. So when we go to Bobby Charlton, now Bobby Charlton, this card was good. The only downside is he can only play cam. But with this card here, you have the option to play striker and cam. So you already have that new thing. And Trivela, playstyle plus, which is technically pointless. You just want a regular Trivela, because who cares about reduced errors on outside the foot passes, unless, again, specific use case. But he's got long ball, incisive, technical, first touch, quick step, power shot, Trivela. I think, to be honest, he's got to go. Maybe goalie strength and aggression could be better, but I think he's got to go S tier. I think, yeah, you could have a bit better play styles, but I think he's got the ability to play advanced 4++. He can play the shadow striker and he can play that cam. He can play all the striker roles. I think for most teams, he can definitely get inside. So I think without a shadow of a doubt, for me, he has to go in. I'm thinking S tier as well. I think he's better than Garrincha. We'll come back to that in the end, but I think he's got a, what the hell's going on here? Why are you appearing at the bottom, fading through? But yeah, he's got to get an S tier. He's got to get an S tier. We'll probably, as I said, we'll rearrange this towards the end. But yeah, a very good card. I'm probably going to buy him on my main account because I need that cam and striker and I can't afford anyone else. So for 2 million, I think he's a good price. Had it been about 10 million, I would say probably not. Then we're going to come in Shearer now. To be honest, this might be one of the first cards that has, which is very interesting, which has aerial and finesse shots. So let's have a look at his card. The regular Shearer card, Lineker back in the old days, always better than Shearer. She always lacked that pace. 81 sprint speed is just not good enough. But here you have a card now that's 5-star weak foot, finesse shot playstyle. The good thing is he's got decent long shots. It could be better. I think realistically you want to put ideally a hunter on him, but I can understand why you would probably lean towards using a hawk to get the long shots up. I understand that argument there, but I think a hunter, you know what, for his price, I think he's priced it very well. I think he's got very good play styles. I think he's got Poacher++, Advanced 4++. He's got Aerial. Now, he is only 5'6" foot. I thought it was 5'11", 6 foot, 5-star weak foot. But he's still going to have that aerial ability. Look, as a now-and-out striker with a 5-star weak foot, he can feel a bit clunky. So I don't think he's anywhere near S+ tier. Maybe the argument could be, is he S tier or A tier? I think he has to go on S tier, in my opinion. For these kind of stats, I think at this stage of the year, when I'm doing this, I'm not just going to put players just for the sake of it into lower tiers because I think I want to make it look, the tier list look good. I don't care about that. I'm rating about how I would use those players, where I'd put them. I think with a 5-star weak foot, for his price to performance, I think he's a very, very good card. You can't go wrong with him. That's the thing with this card. You just cannot go wrong with him. I think for 500k only, I mean, look, let's say you can extend to like a mere Hamm. How much is Hamm going for? 1.2. The only other card maybe you could argue in the same category would be like a Dalglish. And maybe you could argue Dalglish is a better card because he does have the pinged pass, which is better in my opinion, but he doesn't have the same shooting stats as Shearer. So it's a bit of a sticky one. I'd probably say he's probably borderline, just maybe creeps into S tier, maybe A tier. That's where I'd probably put him if you're asking me, but I still think he's a good card. If his price is a bit cheaper, it would be a bit higher. Then we're going to go to Butragueño. One of my favorite cards always has been inside the game because he can dribble. There's only a few cards that can really dribble and has a bit of everything. The question is, where does Butragueño go? In my opinion, I can say without even looking at his stats, I know realistically where he's going to go. I think he's one of those few players that now has to go in that S tier. The reason why minimum S tier, maybe there's an argument for S+, because he's got very good natural finishing, good shot power. Curve could be better, but, you know, he doesn't really got the finesse shot play style plus, so it's not really going to be that much. If he's not going to play cam, but he has the ability to maneuver very quickly on the ball. He's 5'6" or whatever he is, 5'6", 4-star, 5-star. I think he's extremely good. I've always used Butragueño. Even his gold card is very underrated. For 240k, he's a very good card. Now he's got the power shot and a plus for advanced forward and poacher. His passing could be a bit better, but I think he's a striker. He doesn't need a long passing. I think he's got to go in minimum, in my opinion, absolute minimum S tier. Maybe a lot of these cards, don't forget, it's kind of like rating someone, right? Everyone has preferences, you know. You might like one person, I might like the other person. It all depends on your certain use case. And I think maybe you could argue that S+ tier is a very subjective tier. That's one thing I wanted to say. Now, Ferdinand is looking, when I saw these playstyles, is looking very spicy. Now, maybe this is the only one that maybe one of the few cards I'm going to say, you know what, I'm going to subjectively take it from the average player's perspective. I think Anticipate is overrated. I think it's a good playstyle, but I think most average players, they don't know what they're doing when they're defending, if you want me to be completely honest. Even in a top tier elite divisions, a lot of these players have no idea how to even defend properly. And I think a card like Anticipate, it can help you get away with rubbish tackles. I think the ability to stop the ball directly at the feet is obviously very, very good. Don't get me wrong. But the improved stand tackling success, I can tackle someone with 10 to 10 stand tackling. You can literally give me a striker. You can give me like Ronaldo, team of the year. And I've shown you, I've even made videos where I play strikers out of position in centre back and win the ball. Because it doesn't matter about stand tackling. It's about the position of the player. You can see where I rank the team of the years on my other channel, by the way. But he's got the Jockey Playstyle Plus, Power Header, Slide Tackle, Bruiser, Aerial Anticipate. The only thing that lets him down, I would say, is the sprint speed. I think he's a very good card. This could be the argument of S+ tier. But for me, personally speaking, I don't really like that sprint speed. I think with that sprint speed, 93, I want it to be 99. That's just me personally speaking. You could argue differently, so he's going in the S tier for me. That's the way that I am ranking him. I'm pretty sure most of you guys will disagree with me, but that's my opinion. And most of the time, to be completely honest, I'm not... I think sometimes after people come to their senses, after a while, and sometimes I say things, people are like, what the hell is he talking about? And then after maybe a few weeks or so, maybe the next cycle, they start realizing a bit later on. But that's my opinion. Anticipate. I think Jockey Playstyle Plus has more of a higher warrant. He's got a regular Jockey Playstyle. Yashin we come in with now. Yashin, you could argue, where does he go? I think we're now going to rank him amongst the top goalkeepers. You see, he doesn't have... Like, people are saying his Martinez goalkeeper's trash, but he's not. I've used him. He's very good. He's got footwork and rush out. Rush out is the main one, okay? He's got the regular rush out, and he's got far reach. Now, I think far reach can help a little bit, but I don't think it's amazing as people make it out to be. I did a lot of testing pre-patch when it was the finesse shot meta, and it doesn't help with finesse shots outside the box. Unless they've indirectly buffed this somehow that I don't know about, that they've not mentioned. From my understanding, the extension is not that good. And Yashin, the benefit is he's 6'2", but he's not tall enough to be a top tier goalkeeper. I think he's got nice play styles, but I think for that kind of price, I'd much prefer Martinez, which you could argue be one of the best. Maybe even Van der Sar, you could argue. I'm gonna maybe say he's like in between. Maybe I might be one of the first few cards I dropped to A tier. Maybe you could argue S tier. You see, this is the thing. How are we ranking these? Like, you know, is S+ tier? S+ tier is must have. S tier is very good when it to most teams. A tier is more like, okay, they're still very good, but there's better cards available. That's where I'm looking at this. Maybe I should rename those tiers, but I think he's a... You know what, we're going to put him in S tier. We'll give the benefit of the doubt. Cross-claimer, basically, in my opinion, is pointless. If he never had rush out, he'd probably be an A tier. If he didn't have this rush out, he'll be an A tier. But I think there's other cards, realistically speaking. You know, you can argue the Van der Sars is someone that I'd much rather prefer. And of course, Van der Sar is taller. So maybe I'm going to put the argument is that maybe he goes even into A tier. I think because the price of Van der Sar and there's so many, but there's not that many good goalkeepers available. So maybe that's why he has to go in S tier. So you see, these are all the complications you got to think about when you are doing these. Now, Luís Figo, it's I think one card that I would say probably gets a bit of disrespect inside the game. He probably should be rated a bit higher than he is, in my opinion. People will probably disagree with me. He otherwise doesn't really have what you'd want in a player, generally speaking. But he's got the... If you look at the regular gold card, you're basically paying for a 4-star, 4-star. He hasn't got a 5-star. His shooting is meh. He's got technical, okay, fine. No inside forward plus. Balance is a bit meh, and he's 5'11". He's not a card. Stamina is okay, but he's not the card that you'd want. But with this card, I think it's an upgrade, but I don't think it's an insane upgrade. He lacks the shot power, lacks the curve. Finesse shot's not going to be that good. He can play on the right-hand side and in cam, but no real good playstyle pluses. He's got some decent playstyles. Look, unless you're using technical dribbling and strafe dribbling a lot, and you want someone cheap as an icon, I think he might be one of the first cards to drop to A tier. I think he's a decent card. I think he can get the job done. It's 5-star skill moves now. But for me, personally speaking, I don't think he's going to replace... I think most evolutions that money can buy are probably better than this card. So this would be the first card that I would say would drop to my A tier if you're asking me, personally speaking. I just think there's so many other cards that you could potentially get And that's kind of my reasoning behind that one. So Figo goes in A tier. Andrea Pirlo. Now, Pirlo, I believe, is an SBC, if I'm not mistaken. SBC 500k. Is he a bit pricey? Maybe, maybe not. I don't think he's like too pricey. I think maybe for his, is he worth? It's a bit of a different one. He's got the long ball playstyle plus. So realistically, with this card, he's got incisive. He hasn't got tiki taka. So he's got all of them apart from tiki taka and whipped cross. But I think he's a good card. I think because he's got high defense awareness. You see, when you look at his defending stats, naturally you think, oh, he's not that good. But the most important thing is the defense awareness. What's that Tottenham card called? Oh my god, I forgot his name. You know, I'm talking about the one that everyone is using. I just completely forgot the name. I'm going to derail for a second here because I want to make a point here. How do I look at Tottenham players? Spurs. Okay. People think his card is good because he looks good on face value, and what they're doing is they're evolving him. But even when you evolve the card, he only has 62 defensive awareness. So although this was a good evolution, he's more of a cam or a centre mid. He can maybe get the job done, but his interceptions suck, and so does defensive awareness. His regular card is even terrible. So you got to take this all into account. You're going to evolve him to get better shooting, but he's not really a cam because he can't play there, and he's a centre mid. So this is what makes the card less favorable, put it that way. I'm not going to say, well, not as good. But Pirlo has lower 67 heading accuracy. So you can see if you remove the heading accuracy for a second and we aggregate and we just like just take the average over there, right? You're talking about he's going to have about 80, 87, maybe 88, maybe 80, maybe not, maybe 86. But that the heading accuracy is bringing that weight and the stat down. So on face value, it doesn't look that good. The one thing I wish he did have instead was, of course, the 5-star weak foot. Why do you want 5-star skill moves? But he's got quick step, press proven, first touch, ping pass, incisive, long ball. Now, the pace could be better, but he can do a bit of everything. I wish you could play cam and centre mid and CDM. Dead ball's kind of useless, but he's got the long ball playstyle pass. I think for a pass, he's going to be top tier. I think, in my opinion, he has to go to S tier. I think he has to go to S tier. In this kind of whole promotion, there's not really been anyone that's really garbage. Figo's the only player. Maybe I even considered putting him to B tier. But Pirlo is a good card. If you've got the fodder and you're a really big Pirlo fan, I would say go for it. You're probably going to need something like a Shadow or a Hunter. If you're going to play him attacking. But you can play that CDM role. He does have the holding CDM plus. You can also play a deep line playmaker role very well. And he's going to be a ball spammer. If he never had the long ball playstyle plus, my opinion on him would change. But this playstyle alone is very much carrying this player a lot. So if you're the kind of person that's spamming those long balls over the top, I think he's a very good player. I think maybe 500k is actually a good price, I would say, compared to him being like a ridiculous price. Now, Bobby Moore. Now, Bobby Moore was one of those cards where people looked at him and they thought, oh, wow, he's an amazing card because he's got that jockey playstyle plus. And you're probably right. But the problem is, he's like the Hierro example. He's too slow. You know, in day one, this card would have been very, very good. After the first month, look, cards like this and Hierro, their price, like, most of the time, the demand influences the cards, right? But some people, if most people are clueless, the demand's going to be ridiculous, right? Maybe you can make the argument in real life how some people will pay £5 for a shirt with some massive designer on it that's made in the same factory as a Primark t-shirt. One just gone one way for a stamp and one's gone the other way without a stamp. But this Hierro card was good when the game came out, not anymore. And people are still using him and they're wondering why they're struggling. Even if you just get rid of him, I would rather have Bobby Moore instead because he's got the jockey playstyle plus as opposed to Hierro. So at least this card is better than that Hierro card in my opinion. But I think even though he's got the jockey playstyle plus and the good defensive awareness and the agility and the good passing and the good, I think he's too slow. And that is why I'm dropping him to A tier, because I think although he's got the good stats, and it makes sense why he might be on S tier, but he's too slow. At this stage of the game, if this tier list is for now, okay? When you watch this at team at the season level, he's going to be even further back. If you're watching this on day one, he would be S tier, but this is not day one anymore, so we got to be realistic. I don't want to sell dreams as well. He's too slow. Even with his shadow, he's too slow. You know, with Ferdinand, 85 sprint speed is slow. you got to bet he's all into Matt. Now, Schelin is another very good card. I really liked her. I think she's a very, very good card. Normally, historically speaking, normally her normal card, and when the game came out, she would have been in S, just about S plus, maybe you could argue, because she had very good stats. But she lacked the 5-star. This is the one thing that I didn't like about it. She lacked the 5-star weak foot, but she was like Sun, that better agility and balance. But this card is actually very good. The thing is, what sucks is she's got 5-star skill moves. Give her the 5-star weak foot or give her the 5-star 5-star. She got rapid, finesse shot, quick step, technical, power shot, first touch. She can play on the left and she can play in striker. I think she's a very good player. I think she is maybe... I think for a striker, shot power could be better. Again, borderline A tier, S tier. These are the borderline players. You know, I'm going to leave on a borderline. I'm going to leave on the borderline, because you see, with a player like this, if she had a 5-star weak foot, it would be a different situation. She can play the left wing role. I think she's still a very good card. She got rapid and quick step. I mean, quick finesse shot and rapid, should I say? And she got the regular quick step. I think she is, I want to say borderline. I'm going to put her here to borderline. That's what I'll put a borderline. I think Shearer would be one of the other borderline players, so we'll do something like this. This is the way we're going to do it. So we're going to have borderline in between. Then we're going to go over to the final few ones now. We've got Robin van Persie, in real life, exceptional player. One of the best strikers in the Premier League, in my opinion. He can do everything in real life. You know, his positioning is 10-10. He can hold up play. He can shoot. His left foot is extremely deadly. He can take a free kick. His penalty method, his penalty kick taken, I really like it because it always goes high in the net, loads of power, a traditional proper free kick taker, none of this half step nonsense that you see nowadays people miss. Now, his card itself, as an SBC, I think he's good. The only downside is he's going to feel a bit clunky. Okay, so 5-star weak foot. I think realistically they should have put his shooting stats a bit higher. I think he warrants very high shot power. I think he's a very good card. He's a finesse shot god. The only downside is he can only play striker. So I think he's a good card. He's going to go S tier minimum. His stamina and strength are not the best. Stamina could be better. That's the only downside. Hasn't got relentless to counteract it. I think he goes to S tier. I think he's a clinical finisher. He's going to be clunky. I'm not going to say he's going to be the most favorable. So maybe you could argue just on the cusp of S tier. Just on the cusp is what I would say. Then we're going to go to Nesta, notoriously known. So Nesta, of course, we've known him historically speaking, has been notoriously known for being bad on the ball. Very, very slow. You know, without the correct evolutions in place, he's been terrible. You know, his normal card is just too slow. Day one, okay, fine. After that, he's too slow. But with the Intercept Playstyle Plus, he gets that upgrade, 87 sprint speed. Now, this is what's important. This is why players like Virgil van Dijk, if Virgil van Dijk had 66 acceleration, 66 sprint speed, no one would use him. But because the other way around, where sprint speed is more important, this is the big mistake people make, because they see a card with 78 sprint speed and think it's bad, or they see a card with 85 sprint speed and they think it's good, but then their sprint speed is like 75, for example, or 90 acceleration. So that is the thing you have to equate up when you're looking at these cards. Now, me personally speaking, I think he's a good card. I think he's A tier. I think if I had to, would I pick him over Moore? Maybe I would. Although Moore's got the Jockey Playstyle Plus, Nesta, I don't think he goes in S tier, man. I think he goes A tier, man. I think he goes A tier. I think this is the way that I'll do it. I don't think he goes S. No chance. I'm just, because I'm trying to do these tiers, because look, also don't forget, not everyone has Team of the Year players, right? So I got to be careful about how I weight this, but I don't think he goes in S tier. No way for that. Now we go to Frank Lampard. Very underrated player in real life. I think he doesn't get the credit he deserves. So I think Gerrard is a better all-around player, yes, but I think for his movement, his timing is impeccable. But this card is really, really, really pushing the levels now, because I think for the price, I think he's very good. He can play centre mid, cam, CDM. The only downside is he's 6 foot, so he's not going to feel the smoothest. Team balance could be better. Could have a better 5-star weak foot. For those who don't discard, he's not too far off, but the real thing you're paying for is playstyles. I think as a centre mid, he has everything. Good defensive awareness. Good everything. I think, you know what? He goes S tier. I think with the incisive pass, if he never had the incisive pass, it would have been a different situation. I think for the price to performance, he can do everything from a centre mid, and he can play those 3 positions. Not that I would play him in CDM, but you can. Who cares about slide tackling? I think he has everything. 96 sprint speed, tiki-taka playstyle, paint pass. Yeah, you could have a bit more, but I think if you're asking me for a centre mid, he's everything that you want. I think he's underpriced. I think for me, he goes into S tier. We're kind of running out of space here to move the camera, but we'll put him just over here. And then we'll move these 2 players. We'll have to add. We'll have to do something like this. We'll figure this out later. We've only got a few left now. 2 more now. George Best, very, very good card. The question is, where would I put him? Well, I've always been a big fan of George Best. I think with his positions and everything, I've always been a really, really big fan of him. With these play styles now, he's getting a complete different boost to what he had before. I really like this card. I think he's quite cheap, you know, 400k now. I think he's a good card to get the job done. Technical. But this one has inside forward ++, right mid inside forward ++, incisive pass and technical, and he can play that camera role. I think he's probably leaning towards S+ there. Maybe you could argue just on the cusp of S tier. If you had a 5-star weak foot, or 5-star, say S+, he doesn't have that. I would rather prefer the 5-star weak foot, personally speaking, but he's got everything that you'd want for a cam. Yeah, he could be a bit more physical. 2 million. Maybe a bit pricey. A lot of you guys got fodder, but I think he's a good card. Yeah, his physical lets him down, but I only worry about that passing. That's the only thing that I worry about. But I think with the incisive playstyle, he makes it good. So I think he's like on the lower end of S tier. If you could play striker and you had a 5-star weak foot, better passing, it would be a different situation in my opinion. But I think he's on S tier. Maybe, I don't think he's bad enough to go to A tier. I think he's on S tier, personally speaking, so I'll put him over here. That's just my opinion. I'm pretty sure most of you guys are going to disagree with me. Some of you are going to say, oh, he deserves to be in S+ tier, but I think with that passing stats, I think probably not. He's got the really good, don't get me wrong, he's got incisive pass as a cam. I think he's formidable. I wish I had tiki-taka and a few others, but I think if you could play striker, 5-star weak foot, and better passing, it would be different. I know short passing is really the most important thing, but you still take the weighting, the long curve, and the short passing, long pass with highest weighting, and then like the short pass, it's a higher weighting, and then the vision and curve are taken into account depending on contextually where the ball's being passed to. But still, so the incisive pass really boosts the card up, but I don't think it's really. I have to think about that one. Xabi Alonso now. Xabi Alonso, where would he go? Interesting one. We'll see his stats. So Xabi Alonso. Okay, so when I'm looking at these cards, I'm trying to find my team here actually, because I'm seeing if did I pack him. I think I'm just gonna double check now because I'm pretty sure I think I packed him. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I can't remember. I packed some sort of Xabi Alonso. I don't know. Maybe I did this at 4 o'clock in the morning, so maybe I'm just thinking about things. But he can be evoed. He can be evoed if you want to, but that's the older one. Never mind. That's the older one. Where would I put him? I've already seen his stats. It's a bit of a difficult one because he's got all the look. In my opinion, if you have the specific use case, he's S+ tier. Okay, now you won't understand what I'm talking about unless you're like a top tier player or you're a pro player or you're a mechanic abuser. But if you know how to manually do precision lob passes, L1 triangles, precision through balls, and you know how to spam these, this guy could be very much God tier. Had he had ping passing and tiki-taka, they would really push him higher. But the thing is, he's got a 5-star weak foot, which is good. His pace is decent. His defense awareness is very good. I don't think he goes to A tier. Yes, his finishing sucks, but he's going to be a CDM or a center mid. And don't forget the finishing stat. Well, people don't really understand this, right? But let's say this is the pitch and this is the halfway line. It's a terrible drawing I'm doing here. Let's say this is the box. If your finishing is 72 like it is, it doesn't make a difference because the finishing stat only takes into account from shots taken inside the box. Everything outside the box, for example here, it's all the long shot stats. So it doesn't matter if your finishing is 1, take the shot from outside the box, not even near the penalty arc. It's just going to take into the long shot stats. Near the penalty arc, it takes like an amalgamation of both. But I think he's worth it for the price. I think for a specific use case, he could be S+ tier. But people are going to play him box to box, running inside the box. He's going to be S tier. I think maybe we can't. You would know yourself, and this is where I think this is like what I say with tactics, right? There's three top tactics inside the game: the 4-2-1-3, any variation of that, the 4-3-1 if you want to consider that, and the 4-4-2s. What depth you use and what depth I use would be different. I might be a high level player. I might use 70 depth. You use the same one, you could get destroyed. So these are the few things where personal preference comes into ranking. That's why when you come to the 9s and 10s, just even in life, wherever ranking you deem someone to be more attractive, it's all personal preference. You might like redheads, I might like brunettes, whatever. So it's all personal preference. So like, like cars, like I like certain cars. Like I just don't like certain other cars. I just don't like the look of certain other cars. So some people like the look of Teslas. I don't like the look of the micros. Maybe the new one's a bit better. It looks like a bit like an Audi, but I don't really like the Model 3, the new one. So it's all, I would say, dependent on the user. So I'm going to say he goes into S tier. Maybe the argument comes in, or sorry, not A tier. What the hell have I done there? Maybe the argument, I'm just going to push him in over here. Maybe the argument comes in, okay, you know what? Maybe he can push towards the other tiers, maybe. Then we're going to go over to Petr Čech. Now, Petr Čech, very underrated in real life. I think in his, obviously, I know the role of a goalkeeper has evolved, let's say, over the years. I mean, it'd be very interesting to know if anyone here played semi-pro, who maybe was a goalkeeper. How is it nowadays? Like, because I can imagine midway through 2015, if you were like a kid and you were going up and then you didn't know how to play with your feet. Whereas now everyone wants to play with the feet because Guardiola kind of influences and all the managers want to play that way. How far does that make you fall off if you trained one way your entire life and then suddenly your job is not to be a shot stopper, where you have to play, passing styles and stuff like that? Anyway, interesting. Let me know if anyone is. Petr Čech, no rush out. 6'5". He's a shot stopper. Deflector is good. No rush out, in my opinion. For the same kind of price, you can get Van der Sar. The regular one would be good. I think it goes A tier. I don't want to, but I think with the meta, I think it goes A tier. I think had he had rush out, it would be a different situation. But he doesn't. Cross claimer, okay, useless. Far reach, good. Super Cooper deflector is good. Far throw, nah, he goes 8-10. And then finally, I think we're done. We go to the last one now. Henrik Larsson, the guy that I probably dislike the most, not because I was a person, it's because what he did in the Champions League final against beloved Arsenal. 10 minutes away from winning the Champions League final. He comes on and just gets the assists and just wins the game. Very, very upsetting as an Arsenal fan. Anyway, I think I was 10 years old maybe when it was then. I think I actually cried. But yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, Henrik Larsson, I always thought his regular card was a very before the whole play styles thing, this card was a very good card because he had in other years, let's see if I can find this. Let's say FIFA 23, Henrik Larsson. Let's see. Do they have it in FIFA 23? Okay, so here, this is going back to the olden days now, yeah? Back in the olden days, it was a very good card because he had very good 93 finishing, 88 sprint speed. So for a starter squad, 4-star weak foot, he was actually pretty good. He had pretty good high stats, and he was 5'10" and decent agility and balance. Nowadays, it's not really the same as it once was. You can see his sprint speed's a bit lower, balance a bit lower, and he's now got the playstyle which suck. This one over here, he's got the quick step playstyle, chip shot, incisive, finesse shot, power shot, technical, and first touch. I think for 50k, it's an absolute steal. The thing is, you can only play striker, and he has to go to A tier, I think. But you know, he's got a use case. If you're let's say you're looking for a starter team right now, and you're like, I need to buy a top striker. He's got advanced 4++, target 4++, false 9+, poacher ++. He's got the quick step playstyle, finesse shot, power shot, incisive pass, first touch, technical and relentless, 90 agility, 88 balance, 94 finishing, 86 shot power, 88 cover, 90 sprint speed. You can put a hunter on him. I think for price to performance, when I saw this card, I think he's one of the best you can get for 55k. For 55k only, I think he's very, very good. So maybe not good if you've got a team already, but I think, you know, I think he stays in A tier. Maybe you could argue has maybe one of the better ones of the A tier. So where does this ranking all go now? So in my opinion, who do I deem better? Cruyff or Eto'o? It's a tough one. Cruyff or Eto'o? This is actually a tough one. It's going to come down to personal preference here. I think the reason why I may lean towards Cruyff is because he has everything that I want. 5-star, 5-star. But the quick step and the power shot, you know, they're very similar. The argument can go both ways. You know what? Maybe I give this to Eto'o. I can't believe him, but maybe I give this to Eto'o. Give it to Eto'o. How we do this? So Charlton will go near the top. I think Lamps will go near the top as well. Ferdinand will go near the top as well. I think the playstyles really save him. Yashin, we're going to put him in the best. We're going to put him here. So I realize you can't see this. Garrincha. Fuck, you know what? Maybe we put him here. Bam, Persie. Okay, this is the way that we're doing it. This is the way that I've ranked it. Maybe Schelin should go. Oh no, she's not the 5-star weak foot. Maybe something like this is the way that I do it. Now, in these ones, Henrik Larsson would be the best out of the A tiers. Nesta slightly better than more. Figo, probably the worst one out of them all. I can't drop more to B tier, but I think that's what we'll do. I think A tier because B tier is like it should replace your teams, right? B and C tier is like not really usable. B tier is that you should replace if you got. I mean, it's like if you got a bad team. But I think A tier is one of those ones where like they can get the job done in your team, but it's not worth the upgrade. S tier is more like, okay, look, the team that you probably have right now, these cards you can upgrade, and S pluses you gotta swap them in for the players that you have. So that is the reason I think Lampard is very underrated, to be honest. Butragueño. That would be my final ranking. That would be my final ranking indeed. Maybe you could argue Ferdinand can go up top, but like, you know, it depends. That would be my ranking. Again, this is my personal preference. S tier I think is must-haves, must replace. S tier I think is they're good cards. It would be debatable if you can replace me on a team. Between S and A tier, we have those ones. And I don't think, but you see, like, I don't want to put these guys in B tier because it'll look like they're, I mean, I don't want to drop these guys to like B tier because they look like, oh, they're B tier. That's why I'm going to go with it. I don't know. I'll sort out maybe the tiers after. But let me know what you guys think of this. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. And I'll catch you next time. If you want to see more videos like this and see how I test players out and stuff like that, you can check out my Patreon, patreon.com/noguy. Link down in the description. Don't give up on. I'll refund your money. I think that's the world record, the fast time that I've actually done that. But links down in the description. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace.